Hello everyone and welcome back to another video.
Today we are talking about money.
Cash dollars. Woo-hoo.
Not this many.
Like, single note.
In the wallet.
No, a few months ago, or last year, I did a video all about how I afford my luxury purchases, and I really enjoyed talking about, the finance, the savings, and when Tara and I were kind of thinking about what we wanted our channel to be for 2021 and beyond, we really wanted to film more chatty videos like this, life advice, money, and a lot of people are talking about investments at the moment.
So today we're going to go through some of our top 5 money tips, things we've learned over the past probably 5-ish years.
Or just this year for me.
Yeah, some of them this year, just some money ideas maybe to help you start on your money journey, your finance journey, your budgeting journey. So that brings us to point 1. Ellen, do you want to kick off?
I will take the mic. Tip 1 is the really cheesy line that everybody says about money tips, and I kind of feel a bit gross saying it, but make your money work for you. It's really cheesy, but it's true. It's true, and I didn't understand this concept really that much until I think I got a fixed deposit. That was my first experience of making your money work for you. And a fixed deposit, and I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but it's basically when you give a portion of money and lock it into a little deposit with the bank, and you earn kind of interest on it. And at the end of your deposit, you get some money back. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I've basically been doing that since I started saving when I was working my part-time job, and then I went to do it again last year to renew my little fixed deposit. And I went to click through and it said I was only going to make $60 off my fixed deposit. And I was like, what? It's usually $250, $200.
Yeah.
And that was
not what it was used to.
Yeah, and that's because of COVID and interest rates and blah, 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 all that super fun stuff. So what I kind of started looking into more, which I think a lot of millennials and people our age started doing in COVID, was investing. So for me, I'm not the most financially savvy person, and when it comes to markets and investing and choosing businesses. So for me, what I started doing this year was, or last year actually, was I set myself up with a little S&P, is that what it's called? An index fund. Thank you, Tara. see what I mean by I'm not financially savvy? My boyfriend is a financial analyst and he knows all of that stuff and I don't really. So a really good thing for me was just setting myself up with a fund, and it means I am putting my money in.
It's not S&P, S&P.
S&P, okay.
Top 500 companies in the US.
Yeah, so maybe if you want to watch a video about someone who actually knows more about investing. But the point is, I think it's really nice to know that people even like me who know nothing about investments can get themselves set up with a little fund. And I got paid a dividend and my thing's gone up by 17%, and it's way more than what I was getting on my fixed deposit, and it makes me really excited. I have a little Sharesies account. It's a good time.
I also have a fund. I'm in a Vanguard fund. I use Invest Now because it can take smaller payments because I'm not really in a position to put very much in it at the moment. And I did learn about it. I read a book by Mary Home, who she gives it finance kind of tips from a New Zealand perspective, if that's where you live. So she talks about all sorts of things, but that's how I found out about index funds, and I'm gonna slowly keep adding to mine.
Yeah, and I just think it's nice because we don't need to do all the intense analyzing of stocks and the stock market and day trading and all of that stuff, but you can still kind of be part of this cool thing of making your money work for you.
Yeah,
it sounds so lame when you say it.
It's good if you aren't that interested in looking at companies and investing in certain companies. It spreads it out over multiple companies, and generally when they've looked at the research, I think long term, some of those funds make more money than someone that's trading in and out of special stocks and stuff. So
yeah, it's awesome.
The next one, it's not very sexy, people don't like this one, but have a budget and know how much you're spending, how much you can afford for things. My budget is a little bit maybe too intense. I break everything down and I know, and I track it, what I spend each month, and I have a set amount I want to spend for, say, food each month, and I've got my rent in there, all the expenses and bills, and then
now you have mortgage.
Yes, now it's not rent, it's mortgage, and it's house insurance, and it's resident society and rates, and I break it all down by like pay packet, how much of each pay packet I have to put aside for each thing, and try to stick to my budget amounts, which doesn't always work, but you know.
At least you're trying. I think that's a really key thing with budgeting, is just being really aware of what's coming in and out of your bank account. Like for me, that's a really big thing. Like there would never be a charge through my bank account, through any of my cards, that would go unnoticed. Like I like to monitor and make sure that, you know, you don't just get carried away spending and shopping for like a week and then you go look at your bank account or your credit card and you're like, oh wow, that really added up. I like to like be aware of what's coming in and out.
Yeah.
That's kind of me and my budget. I'm a little more loose than you, a little more crazy.
Yeah, I guess I still like splurge. Like I've got kind of like an allocated amount that's like my splurge amount. So like I just make sure I don't go over it each month, because I get paid monthly as well. So having a budget is quite important for me, because it's very easy to kind of like not budget as strongly, I guess, if you get paid weekly or fortnightly. But for me, it's like I have 4 to 5 weeks before I get paid again. So I do need to keep stuff aside, you know, make sure I've got enough for my insurance to come out on that date. I just use a Google Docs spreadsheet, and then I can access it everywhere I am and live updates.
I think it's about finding something that works for you in your lifestyle, because if someone that doesn't like Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheets, you might find that not nice to look at.
Yeah.
But then maybe you're not someone who's into apps or
There's lots of different options out there if you ever look.
Mine's really kind of easier now with my business as well, because all of my payments and expenses go through Xero. So it's like literally tracked on a really cool piece of software, and I get graphs of like expenses, outgoings, and then it does like compares it to the previous month or this time last year. Like it gave me a little notification that my income was up by 30% compared to last year.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, thank you, Xero.
I thought it was going to be like, you spent too much this month.
No, it doesn't do that. I'm sure you could find a setting for it where it's like abort. You're too close to your pay or your income. Tip number 3 is having separate bank accounts for separate things. Like instead of just having one account where all of your incomings come into, all of your outgoings, all of your bills, but also all of your shopping, it's really great to have separate accounts. So for example, for me, I have my business account, obviously. I have an account where I put all my tax money away, so it's all nice and ready there for the tax man at the end of the financial year. But I also have my savings account. I also have a bills account where I put basically at the beginning of the month, I put all of my money for rent and power, kind of like an estimate of what I think my power will be. I put that all in there. So it means like I'm not looking at my bank account and being like, oh, look at all the money I have, let's go shopping. And then like you said, when you're on a monthly budget, you kind of get to the end of the month and you're like, oh no, like there's no money left.
Yeah, I do that as well. I pretty much have the same setup, except I think I've also got like a separate savings account. Can't remember what I use it for now. It was for saving for like the house, like my deposit and stuff.
Yeah, I like that saving techniques if you have like separate accounts. Like I think when I was saving to go to Italy, I had a separate Italy account because it keeps you really motivated, you know, if you can like literally see like that money is just for my holiday, or it's just for my new phone or new car or whatever it might be.
There's also a lot of accounts these days you can open up and it costs nothing to have it, because you're not getting statements. You don't have a card on it, so it actually doesn't cost you any money to have it separately.
Tip number 4 is a little bit different. This is my contribution to the video that I put in here, and it's kind of like a little bit counterintuitive, but it's that I believe in investing in yourself to create more wealth and create more money for yourself. So like what I mean by this is for me it's really about like doing online courses, upskilling, investing in your education and investing in yourself, and whether it's for your business, like for me, like doing online courses to learn and upskill and grow my business, but also, you know, if you are in a career and maybe you want to get like a promotion, so you do some online courses or you do further study, and I just really believe in this idea of if you want to grow your wealth and grow your income level and therefore, you know, be more like financially secure, sometimes for me it's about, you know, making that little bit of contribution and that investment upfront, you know, like paying some money to then make some more money. And I think it's particularly relevant for someone like me, or if you have like a business or even just a side hustle. If you're wanting to grow that, it requires investment and putting some cash dollars in to get more cash dollars out.
You'll also actually find that maybe you don't have to spend your own money if you're lucky enough to work for a workplace. Mine provides access to an online course like online website thing called Udemy, and they've got so many different things on there, not just relevant to my job, that you can look at and do. And that's also because your job pays for it, and mine also has like scholarships on offer. Sometimes they'll pay for you to go to a master's, stuff like that. So really take advantage of it. If you're an employee, definitely see what kind of stuff you can get from them to invest in yourself. So the last one we've put that I feel like is a little bit harder to think about when you're younger and you're not at retirement age yet. Spoilers, it's about saving for retirement. Whoop whoop. So in New Zealand, we're lucky enough to have KiwiSaver, which is like a retirement savings scheme that comes out of your pay packet, and it goes and it gets invested in different funds, and we can take it out when we buy a house, but it's also long term, it's for your retirement basically.
Which is really cool, because I think they found that people were retiring in New Zealand with not enough money to live off, so now they're making us start, like you can start it from your very first job. So I think we got ours when we were like 16, and we got $3,000 from the government. I
don't think it existed when I started my first job, but
I got it when I was 16.
And it's great because it's like, it's meant that I've put 3 or 4%, you can set it however high you want. Every pay goes to that, and it builds up over time, and then that helped me on the deposit for my house, and then now the next pays will go towards my retirement, and it does all add up. And if you start it as soon as you can, you're going to make more money in the long run. So I think when they looked at it, like if you start from a certain age, you put this much in, and because that money is getting invested, it's the idea of compound interest. So you make money on that investment, and then that gets reinvested, so then you make more money, and it all compounds together to a bigger amount. Whereas if you start later, there's less time for that compounding interest to build up.
And I think the really nice thing about it is, if maybe our first point about like investing and making your money work for you, if that sounded kind of like scary for you, this is a really nice alternative, because like you said, it is just 3 or 4% of your income. So I found when I first started my like job, and when I was working part-time in retail, even though I was on a really low salary and wasn't traditionally maybe someone who could contribute money to an investment fund, technically I kind of was, and it was making me save, and it actually grew, quite to a quite decent amount over what? Oh my god, almost 10 years since I was 16.
So old.
Maybe that's why it's actually grown to a significant amount. It's been 10 years.
Yeah. So, and you can add like a little bit more, like if you don't feel like investing in investment funds is a bit scary, or shares or something, you can just put extra amounts into your KiwiSaver various pays, or at the end of the year when you've got like a little bit left over or something.
And I think that's really nice, because it's like you never know what's going to happen to you in life and your financial situation when you're going to be older. And I don't know about you, but I want to retire, and I want to go on a cruise ship. Like, I want to be all good, set up in my retired life.
I want my blue rinse, I want my co-sunnies, and I'm gonna read a book on a cruise ship.
Exactly. And it may seem like so far off in the kind of like the future, but if you start now, it's gonna be so much easier. And that's such like a nerdy thing to say, but it's true.
It all does.
So that is this little fun finance video.
Was it fun?
Let us know if you guys enjoy these kind of videos. I personally like it. Like, I've been watching a lot of like Instagram reels and following people online who talk about investments, who are like me, just like young girls who don't really know that much. And sometimes it's nice, they speak on my level.
Yeah, I quite like Patricia Bright's channel. She talks a lot about investing, but she's obviously at a very different stage in her life than us. She's got multiple investment properties, she's got a few businesses, whereas we just wanted to come and be like, hey, we're two girls that kind of work and have these little things that we do that help. That should add up.
Yep, they'll add up.
Remember to give us a like if you did like it. Thumbs up always helps us, and subscribe if you're new and you'd like to see more videos. We also do fashion videos, vlogs, and then like personal advice kind of
chit chat videos.
Millennial
woman surviving the world.
Applicable to other age groups too.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.